What do you get when you cross me, Santa Claus, with bowling? Elf bowling!
Not Santa bowling, elf bowling. Santa Claus wants to play bowling, but to express his heartfelt, deep-seated appreciation of his employees, the elves, he's going to play bowling where the elves themselves are the skittles that Santa Claus personally knocks over with his bowling ball. It's good to see Santa Claus upholding such good business practices. There's certainly nothing questionable about this at all. Or maybe these elves had it coming.
An internet Christmas story. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and at the North Pole, Santa's sleigh was packed tight, the reindeer ready to go. When out in the snow there arose such a clatter, St. Nick sprang from the can to see what was the matter. The elves are on strike, cried Mrs. Claus with disdain. What shall we do, Santa? Come on, rack your fat brain. Santa's face began to sparkle. He shouted, Merry Christmas to all! He dashed to the coat closet and grabbed a 16-pound ball. Santa began to laugh so hard, his stomach was rolling. Come on, you old woman, it's time for elf bowling! Yes, Virginia. There really is elf bowling.
And that really was Santa Claus's voice. His official voice, at least according to some Santa Claus talking app on smartphones.
What do you get when you cross a snowman with a vampire? Frostbite! Ho 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 ho!
That is what Santa Claus sounds like. And this is the backstory to elf bowling, it seems. This is where it comes from. I know for a fact, though, that this isn't the canon explanation for where elf bowling comes from anymore, because there was a movie to explain it. Santa Claus used to be a pirate who stole presents, and then he went to the Bahamas and battled some evil Santa to get the rights to his elf bowling game that he'd invented, and then he became Santa Claus. And it actually is what I just said. I'm not making this stuff up. The official elf bowling rules. Trouble, another one? There's another story section.
The official elf bowling rules. Trouble brews in the Arctic North. The recent explosion of online Christmas purchases has more than doubled the demand on the typically lazy workers of the ETMU, Elf Toy Makers Union. Under the legal advice of Elliot Elf, the union's chief counsel, the elves have decided to strike against Santa's Workshop, Inc. Upon hearing the news, President Claus knows there is only one way to resolve this conflict in time for Christmas.
Elf bowling. Press space or click the mouse. Stop the marker where Santa aims his jolly ball. I don't want that Santa's jolly ball getting anywhere, frankly. Work the elves. Word of warning, these elves will do everything they can to distract, tease and humiliate you. Oh, those disgusting, despicable elves trying to humiliate Santa Claus while he's preparing to bowl them over with a bowling ball. Those monsters. Disgraceful. Don't they know they can't treat their master like that? Shameful stuff. Whatever that was about Santa's jolly ball. Well, whatever. Let's actually play this game. Elf bowling, as I'm playing it here, the original version is an old, late 90s... Oh, good grief, that's not very tasteful, elves. I thought this was a family-friendly game. Jeez Louise, I guess that's what they're talking about when they said that it teases. They're teasing Santa. Well, I hope this video doesn't get taken down by YouTube, then. Is this contraventioning? It's whatever's... How do I do this? I gotta click that... Oh, I was missed! Well, that was decent, at least. There's the elves. Bye-bye, elves. There's actually a thing to pull them up. This game is quite legendary among people in the late 90s and the early internet days. People were downloading this and sharing it on floppy disks. Well, we've got some elves on the left. That's enough out of you, Flimbo. We've got elves on the left, so let's aim this thing slightly to the left or the centre, whatever. Well, it didn't quite work. It's not doing too great here. Get rid of it. Yeah, this game was all over the place back then. Loads of people have fond memories of elf bowling. And yes, that's right. Look, that's the marker down there. I remember this. You've got to... You want to aim it, like, not quite at the middle, but heading... From what I remember of playing bowling as a child, you want to get it... You want to aim it at an angle heading into... You want to aim the ball in between the frontmost elf and one of the two elves on its side. But you don't want to just you don't want to just aim it straight into that. You want to curve it at an angle like this, coming like that up there into that. That's the sweet spot, roughly. It might get you a strike or it might get you nothing. Either way, Santa Claus. Oh, I forgot about the frog. Well, Santa killed that frog, but it's okay because a dove came and took it away. There's Rudolph. That's not Rudolph. That's not Rudolph over there because he doesn't have a red nose. Rudolph has a red nose. Let's see if we can get them. Yep. Ah, yeah, perfect. Excellent. Yeah. Wee! Santa Claus wins. Santa's the best.
Yes, I am.
And I'm not making up that accent. What's that? Fewer toys, higher wages. Oh yeah, I didn't realise there was a blooming political intrigue plot to elf bowling. I wasn't aware there was such a I don't know, a political premise, basically. The Workers' Union of Elves demanding better pay from Santa. This is all quite adult stuff, really. Much like when they were mooning him earlier. But anyway, this is a very well-known game to people in the late 90s. And it's well-known to this day, not just out of nostalgia for the late 90s when this thing wasn't the pile of trash that it obviously is, but because this franchise, I mean I'm saying franchise, this series, the Elf Bloomin' Bowling, for some reason has turned into a persisting, lasting brand which continues to exist, or at least it did last I checked. It got a DS game. I think it got a 3DS game as well. It got a movie, as I was saying. It got a movie where Santa's a pirate and he invents bowling. And I know that I'm inclined to make up stupid stories and lie, but that's not a lie. That is a real thing. You wouldn't believe it, but it actually is, if you look it up. Elf Bowling, that was made in something like 2007. 8 years or so after this was made. So the question on everybody's mind is, how has Elf Bowling... Why? You know, why? Why did this ever become anything more than this late 90s Flash game? Where you just, with the most basic perfunctory interface imaginable for a bowling game, you just, look, there's just a bunch of red triangles that just, one of them glows and it goes over at the right and then it glows over at the left, and you just click at some point and then depending on what point you click on it, the ball goes and says, oh, what, hey, that's not fair. The Skittles can't dodge. Not in real bowling, or at least not in any bowling game I ever played. I used to play bowling sometimes. I mean, it was a nice thing to do. But it's really quite basic. I don't know why bowling is so popular, especially in America. I mean, it's just it's literally just the exact same thing over and over. You just throw the ball, it either knocks the ball down or it doesn't. You get a second chance if it doesn't knock the ball down. And if there's a pin on the far left and a pin on the far right, then you're basically scuppered. That's it. Just kiss goodbye to that frame, as they call it. You just repeat this for 10 frames and game over. You just do that. I don't know why Fred Flintstone loved it so much. He had to tinkle-toe his way into the bowling lane every time he played. The special bowling shoes you've got to wear for some reason that you can't have. You're wearing your peasant shoes on the nice wood floor. Can't have that. You can wear your own shoes in literally any other environment on the planet besides a bowling alley, but for some reason in a bowling alley you got to put on special shoes. I find that weird. Oh look, speak of the devil. What was I talking about? How look at that. It's the dreaded nightmare scenario. The 2-pin puncture. The 2-pin junction. The 2-elf junction, sorry. These elves. See if we can at least get one. We can. I'm kind of impressed how well I'm doing, considering this is the first time I've ever played elf bowling. I guess those 10 minutes I played of Wii Sports 10 years ago must have helped. What does that even say? Oh, that's the title, Elf Bowling. Man, this was made in the 90s, wasn't it? Look at that. That's a 90s title. That's a 90s title right there. You can barely even read it. Elf Bowling. There's the bowling ball, and there's the actual Skittles, which are not present in this game, so that is false advertising. I wonder if that's the actual logo that they use to this very day. Completely unchanged. What's this? Hosting and bandwidth provided by theplanet.com.
What are you talking about, man? Nobody told me the planet was sponsoring this. I'm Cloud Strife. I'm supposed to be told about these things.
N-Storm by N-Vision Design. Nstorm.com, 1999. Merry Christmas. Again, almost Or possibly even more hard to read than that up there. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
To our family, friends, clients, and fans. Clients? What? The crew at Envision Design. I wonder what kind of clients they had exactly. Because I don't mean to be uncharitable or anything. It is the season of goodwill after all, and peace on earth. Or at least it would be if it actually was, but it's not when I'm playing this. But I've got a sneaking suspicion. Call me crazy. I've got a sneaking suspicion that Elf Bowling was programmed by a 16-year-old in his attic. And whatever clients this is here, it's like all those early internet RPG Maker people that made games in RPG Maker and Adventure Studio and whatever else. You know, the 15-year-olds that made these games, and they called the little production thing a studio. This is Crystal Studios. Because, yeah, we're definitely studios. We're studios, plural. We're more than... Not only have we got a studio, which is totally not just my bedroom, we got studios. There's several studios, it seems. Oh, yeah, I guess there were. If there was more than one person on the team being two teenagers that could talk to each other on the internet, I guess they had technically more than one bedroom or whatever place they were in. Whoever the clients are, listen to me. For all I know, maybe N-Storm made Facebook. Maybe Mark Zuckerberg stole it from them. What do I know about the world? All I know is that who is NVD? Oh, we get to find out. Wait, what NVD? Oh, Envision Design. N-Storm by Envision Design. Let's find out about them, why don't we? Aggressive solutions for the internet and multimedia. What on earth does that mean? Get blooming stuffed. Aggressive solutions. Was that the big thing in the late 90s? Was that the big software business term? Was that what they were all pushing? We provide aggressive solutions. Well, it's good to see they were still using the word solutions even back then. And when I say good, I mean bad. Aggressive solutions. That might well be the 90s equivalent of leveraging your core competencies, or whatever they've moved on to by this point. The leveraging the core competencies might already be an old-fashioned thing now. What are they doing now? They might be doing anything. Throw us a loop. There might well be they're fluctuating their central dynamics now, confronting their synergies into a core, confronting their core synergies into a Leviathan-ethical anti-histamine. Throw us a loop and we'll set it up. Without even finishing the first part of the sentence up to that comma, I don't even want to read any more of this, but I signed myself up for this. Just like all those soldiers, I signed up for this. Throw us a loop and we'll set it on fire. Approach it head on and apply directly to the forehead. Nail the landing every time. We are the evil Knievel of new media. Sure you are, Envision. From database-enabled applications to the applications that use a database and integrated portals to intranets, whatever on earth that means, e-commerce and virtual communities. That must have sounded so exciting in 1999. E-commerce, virtual communities. That sounded like the Jetsons in 1999, whereas now it sounds like a bunch of people that rant about Sonic the Hedgehog's arms being blue, and buying haunted video game cartridges on eBay, which aren't actually haunted. We create internet solutions that were unimaginable even 2 short years ago. We combine the best of our right brains with the best of our left brains. Is that even real? Is that an urban legend? Right brain, left brain stuff? It seems like almost everything involving brains is not even true. Maybe brains don't even exist, for all I know. There might not be even such a thing as a brain. Maybe that's the next scientific development. Because, I mean, like, what was that thing? Every fact you've heard about your brain is wrong. The thing about us only using 10% of our brains, that's not true. That's empirically disproven. We might well only use a fraction of at any given time, but the entirety of our brain gets used across our lives. It's just not all at once. So I guess there's some truth to that one, fine. But, and what else? The brain, alright, that's all the brain facts I know that aren't true. So we're done with that. Computer-based training applications, multimedia databases, Shockwave and Flash, I remember. Well, Flash has survived. It's survived. Shockwave hasn't though. Have you heard of Shockwave? You probably haven't heard of Shockwave. but Flash is still around. It's being used to this very day. In fact, it's being used to animate most mainstream cartoons now, as in the ones that appear on television. So real cartoons, you know, the actual things. Real stuff. So that's something. Digital video. QuickTime VR? What's that? QuickTime virtual reality? Is it? The QuickTime experiment with virtual reality? Well, I've never heard of that, so I'm guessing that went about as well as the Virtual Boy. I'd like to see that. Hybrid new media solutions for out-of-this-world results. Out-of-this-world results! Alright, well that was one of the most just... That was as reprehensible to my eyes and sensibilities as every statement ever issued by a corporation in human history. So, I'm done with that. I got the high score of 184. Register? Oh yeah, please allow me to register my score. Let me register my score. I hope this doesn't open up my browser though and reveal my browsing links and history to all that unsavoury, embarrassing stuff that I probably would just leave in anyway, because it's impossible to embarrass me. Also, nothing happened. Oh, it did happen. There's a sand timer. There's that sand timer that shows up when something's happening. Sand timer with almost all the sand out of it already, but it still stays there. Who even uses sand timers? They say that the floppy disk icon that they use for saving in computers is obsolete. The children already don't have a clue what that thing is, because floppy disks haven't been... Oh dear. You seem to have lost your head.
You seem to have lost your head, my little elf.
Also, he's not going to get it back. It's just going to stay like that. Santa gets to line up his bowling ball with a decapitated elf standing directly in front of him. Stuff this. I'm going to get perfect... Wait, what was that? 0, 0, 0. They didn't even change the... They didn't even just have it show 1, 0 if you get 0. There's those... The 10s and the 100s, they're just there for no reason. Just like a 1980s video game. Alright, let's see if we can get a perfect score. What was I rabbiting on about a second ago? I managed to forget again. Oh well, I didn't enjoy that. I was afraid that I wouldn't get that there, because it was on the left-hand side when I charged it, and Santa's sort of standing... He's right-handed. Unlike me, I'm left-handed. Have I ever mentioned that before? I'm left-handed. Yeah, I don't want to watch you doing this. It's really quite annoying how if you get directly in the centre, you actually do worse than if you're done slightly at the side. I wonder what the DS elf bowling games are. There's a sequel too. What are these console games like? You got to pay actual money for those. You got to pay £30 or dollars to get these official elf bowling releases. I mean, who bought them? I guess somebody bought them because again they made a movie. For all as daft as that corporate thing, as daft as that corporate statement was that I just read for Endstorm, they did actually succeed. I'll give them credit. They did manage to get a movie made. That has to say something. It wasn't just an insanely cheap movie. You know, it wasn't just some YouTube video where that looks like Cyanide and Happiness or something. No, I'm talking about an actual movie. I mean, say what you will about the movie's quality, but at least it looks somewhat like a movie, you know? You could imagine seeing that in theatres. It's no Disney or Pixar or what have you, but it's a movie. They got a budget. That's not fair! Did you see that? You did see that, didn't you, right? I lined it up perfectly, and that elf just dodged. This isn't fair. This game is a troll. This game predicted the internet culture, that's for sure. Yeah, so maybe that corporate statement was more on the ball than I'm giving it credit for. They predicted trolling. Was that around in the 90s? Santa sucks. Oh yeah, we'll see.
We'll see about that. I don't appreciate that, elf. You are going to regret this. I'm going to do more than just lower your pay this time. How about a ball?
Another thing about bowling that's just weird is that, and I spent my childhood trying to get my head around this, if you get a strike, which is if you hit all the elves in one shot, on the first shot of your frame, then you get a strike, and that little X goes in the corner of your box. and then you get if you did it on the first round there, then you get that X, and it doesn't show any points. But then when you get to the second box, if you get when you finish that, then it shows the points in the first box, and as you can see, look, it says 27 in the first box. A strike you get 1 point for every skittle you knock down. So, I mean, a strike would be 10. There's 10 skittles, but no, look, 27. I never understood how the scoring works in bowling. It's very strange. If you get anything less than a strike, then you just get, if you hit 9 pins, it counts as 9 on this first thing. And then if you hit 10, if you hit 8 on the second panel, then you've got 17 points at that point. You've got 9 from the first round plus 8 from the second round, so you've got 17. But the strike just messes everything up. It just makes it all weird. I don't get it. I don't understand. Oh well. Okay, we're doing very well though. We're doing excellently so far. And we're continuing to do excellently. Good George, Santa. That reindeer's standing there watching on.
Nice job, Santa Claus.
Thank you.
No! Oh. It's a very deterministic game as well. If you stop the glow, if you stop the glow at the right spot, then it always hits the same elves every time you hit that. Let's hit that left-hand thing.
Yes.
Yeah. There's no random chance. Well, that went well, didn't it? That went very well indeed. Is that the end? That's the end.
I win.
242. The maximum score you can get is 300, I believe. Anyway, that's elf bowling. Elf bowling. That was a blast from the past. Blast from the past. As much as I was aware of this game, I knew friends of mine were sharing it in the early 2000s, I think. I never did play it though, so this is the first time I've ever played elf bowling. And well, I mean, it was nice. It was a nice little thing, wasn't it? Would have been very fun. Would have been a pleasant distraction in the late 90s. It's free after all. That's something. Ed Storm made a nice game. Never seen the movie. Never played the sequels or the DS version, but I think that you'd agree with me that it wouldn't be worth paying $40 to buy this. Plus the sequel, which is probably also just this, with maybe some different sound effects and graphics. Well, that nice work, Ed Storm. Let's visit, why don't we? No, it's not going to work. The sand timer. Yeah, I was talking about sand timers earlier. That's it, sand timers. Yeah, the floppy disk icon for saving is famously obsolete. The meaning of that is dead now. The sand timers the meaning of the sand timer on computers. It was dead on arrival, though. Who's used a sand timer since the 1920s? Nobody uses sand timers. It's the sort of thing like in cartoons where a character's got an ice pack on their head and their feet are in a hot bucket and they got a thermometer in your mouth, you know? You know when you see that they're unwell, even though nobody has done any of those things for 60 years. The sand timer's like that. Everybody knows about the concept of sand timers, but nobody uses them. And the computers keep them alive and well. Just like oh dear, the mouse seems to be starting to decide not to really exist properly. Get your act together, mouse, come on. Don't start phasing in and out of reality now.
I don't pay you enough for this, mouse. But I do pay the elves enough to play bowling with them. Ah, I hope you had fun, elves. Have you learned your lesson from me, Santa Claus?
No! Stick it up your windpipe, you crusty old white-bearded red man!
I don't like what you just said. Time for another round!
Oh
no! Ha! You're all dead now! Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
That's the end.